Hello and welcome to this review video of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Order Battletome Daughters of Khaine, which GW has very kindly sent to me free of charge for your reviewing pleasure. Now, for those of you who have not seen my reviews before, I'm basically going to flick through the book and pick bits out that I find interesting or think others will find interesting. Have a look at the not faction, wrong word. Faction. The factions, some of the faction specific stuff, and some of the stat lines of some of the units. Not a detailed, clipped review. If you want that, there are going to be plenty of others on the YouTubes which will be better suited. I've also not played Daughters of Khaine before, so I have no frame of reference for where things have changed. Again, so that may affect whether you want to invest your time in this video. Anyway, enough of that. I've taken to the first page of the book has got a little sort of like narrative monologue from one of the characters, and I've taken to reading those out because I think they're quite cool. So here we go. Bow before the goddess Marathi Kane, most beautiful and terrible of deities. After millennia of plotting, this master of intrigue and manipulation has seized the divine power that she always knew to be her right. Now she desires that all mortal beings worship her, though whether they do so through love or through fear, she does not care in the slightest. Even allies must be aware such unchecked ambition, for Marathi has already shown she will not allow crude notions of honour to stand between her and ultimate power. At Marathi Kane's command march the Daughters of Khaine, fanatical killers who devote themselves to mastery of the blade and the barbed lash. Woe betide those who earn their wrath, for these merciless elves attack in a whirlwind of pale flesh and razor-keen knives, slashing throats and slicing open bellies. As they kill, they scream praises to the god of murder, growing ever more frenzied and lightning swift as their skin is slathered in gore. Cauldrons of blood are rolled forward to catch the gruesome deluge. The misshapen forms of the Scathborn warriors emerge from the conjured mists, bat-winged Kinnere and slithering Melusai, the mightiest companions of Marathi, let loose to wreak a terrible vengeance upon those who would deny her majesty. At the behest of their beloved goddess, the Cainites sweep far across the mortal realms, from the shadow strongholds of Ulg to the distant plains of war-torn Gur. In an age of expansion and strife, they sense the chance to spread the influence of their violent creed, and in doing so, further the already immense power of Marathi Kane. War calls, and the Daughters of Khaine answer. Okay, so first off, there's some lovely artwork in the artwork. There are some lovely set pieces in the book with models set up against all sorts of enemies. There's a nice one here against Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Very cool. And there's a bunch of those throughout. So narrative-wise, we've got who are the Daughters of Khaine? Bloodthirsty zealots, merciless killers who dedicate their lives to mastery of the blade. The Daughters of Khaine are amongst the most lethal warriors in all the realms. For them, combat is a sacred ritual, and the sensation of an enemy's hot blood splashing across their skin, a holy offering. Then there is also some nice artwork in the book. This is I think it's some kind of human cathedral. I think it's a chaos cathedral because some of the dead humans have got 8-pointed stars on them. But there's a cauldron of blood that's been wheeled in, and the Daughters of Khaine are doing what they do. Then we have a section called A Dance of Shadows, about the origins of Marathi Kane and, you know, how Slaanesh ate all the elves at the end of the old world. Ate their souls. And they spent quite a while in there, so they got a bit weird. And then when they eventually got fished out, they were a bit weird. And then a bit about Marathi's rise to power and prominence throughout her the Cainites. To become a goddess. I wonder what this section's about. You know, how she pulled it off. Harkoron, one of the cities. Located on the sweltering Charwind coast, the city of Harkoron dominates all trade on the Searing Sea. This infamous place was once known as Avilgard and was pledged to the god King Sigmar until it was taken by Marathi's armies as a crowning conquest to mark her ascension to godhood. Yeah, she did a deal with the Ardeneth Deepkin, and they bolstered her ranks, and she basically did a snatch and grab on Avilgard, and Sigmar was fighting on too many fronts to go, damn it, another day. We'll have that fight another time. You can keep it for now, as long as you don't hurt the people there. She went, no. Nice little map of the realm of Shadow. Ulgu. I'm struggling with how to pronounce it. Ulgu. Ulg. And it's 13 vast doom-laden continents. And then the Shadrach convergence in the centre where they all meet. Then we have a section here about the various temple cities of Marathi Kane. So Hagnar, the city of the first temple, that's in the realm of shadows. Durachi Ganeth, the Tower of Blades. Now, where is this one? Can't see. Ironshard, the Umbral Edifice. There's a bunch of cities. Then we have the usual Age of Myth, Age of Chaos, Age of Sigmar. Little vignettes, lots of little nice little... So for example, one here, Excelsis in Peril. Surrounded and besieged by the rampaging greenskin hordes of the newly risen earthquake god Kragnos, the free city of Excelsis seemed destined to fall. Its once prosperous harbours are being torn to splinters by the mega-gargant Derko Walrus Biter and his fellow Kraken Eaters when the sails are sighted on the horizon. Sleek black wolf ships bearing the insignia of the Scourge privateers carry Marathi Kane and her armies of Hagnar to the city streets, where they leap from prows and gun walls into the heart of the fighting. The Serpentine Shadow Queen slays Walrus Biter, wrapping her coils around the Titan's throat and squeezing so hard that she tears his head from his neck. With the dock secured, the Cainites join the battle for the city proper. Lots of little bits like that. That was part of the deal, if I remember rightly, with Sigmar. Once she'd sacked Avilgard, he summoned a big host to go and take it back. They fought, but Sigmar didn't want to expend the resources in taking it back and flattening it, it turned out. So he did a deal with Marathi Kane. Don't hurt the people in the city and support my fight in Gur, and you can have it for now. Covens of Blood. So we've got stuff here about the organisation. Marathi, then her shard marked. Shade Marked and Viperic Guard. Then various sort of city-states, and within those, various different formations. Shadow Patrols, Doomfire Warlocks, Kinneret Life Takers, Kinneret Heartrenders, Slaughter Troops, Slaughter Queens, Gladiatresses, Cauldrons of Blood, Sisters of Slaughter, and Kinneret Heartrenders, a Scath Coven, Medusa Iron Scales, Bloodrack Shrines, Bloodrack Medusae, Blood Sisters, Blood Stalkers, and then Cauldron Guard, Hag Queens, Cauldrons of Blood, Witch Elves, and Kinneret Life Takers. Yeah, nice. I like the differentiation, the little sort of formations. Then we've got a section on each of the Canine sects. So we've got Hagnar, obviously founded in the Canine cult, at the Temple of Hagnar. Zenratha. They are some Scath. They're a sort of predominantly Scath-born group. Zenratha translates as the Blood Saints. Nice. The Dratchi Ganeth, the Arena Fighters. The Kraith, utterly single-minded in the pursuit of slaughter. Scorn their fellow Kane worshippers for spending so long in prayer and recitation when they should be killing stuff. The Calibron. The ways of the Calibron are secretive, which is fitting because they don't need to be written down. No. They worship Kane's aspect as the assassin or the unseen killer. Kalet Na is a rising power in the Kane cult. They reside in the Temple of the Iron Shard, a massive shrine to the murder god, atop a flat-top mountain known as Rothor. That doesn't really tell us much. Okay. Part of the sect's military success is ascribed to the veins of precious umbral metal that run through Rothor itself, a substance imbued with potent Olgan magic. The bladesmiths of Keltnar have perfected the art of crafting masterful weapons from this metal. Then a big thing about Marathi herself. Then we have the section on what's a Hag Queen, what's a Slaughter Queen, what's a Cauldron of Blood, what's the Mother Cauldron. Then, sort of, again, and I like this, I like the fact that they do, you know, if I want to know what Doomfire Warlocks are all about, I can go and read it here, and that helps me with how to play them, how to build my armies, all sorts. The Warriors of the Sisterhood, so, again, same thing, Witch Elves, Sisters of Slaughter, High Gladiatrixes, then the Melusai, the Iron Scales, the Blood Sisters, the Blood Stalkers. So these are the half-snake elves. Then the Blessed and the Cursed. A bit more about this. Within the Kane Court there are those who, willingly or otherwise, give themselves over to the murderous power of the bloody-handed god. These souls are transformed into vessels of spiteful malice who delight in the agonizing slaughter of their foes. So, same stuff. Bloodrack Medusa, Bloodrack Shrines, Doomfire Warlocks. Then, Agents of Shadow and Sky. The Kinneret Heartrenders, the Kinneret Life Takers, the Canine Shadow Stalkers. These are the old assassins, I assume. Then we've got some lovely pictures against various armies. Very nice little set pieces. Some against Slaanesh. Well, against all sorts, really. All these first four have been against various Chaos factions. That's pretty cool. And randomly against some squigs. Lots of caves. More chaos. Night Haunts. Then we have a good set of painting guide material. We've got 6 pages of painting stuff on the various different sects. So Durachi Ganeth, Marathi herself, her face, her robes, the Calibron, the Hagnar, the Kraith, the Keletnar, Zarathakar, then various different skin tones, contrast skin tones, dark skin, flushed skin tone, that's a kind of reddish one. Different patterns for the Melusa scales and the different various sets of wings, banner design, Sisters of Slaughter masks in different styles, all very good stuff. So now we come on to the rules. Okay, so Temples of Khaine. So there are a number of sub-factions, but they're on a separate page, so we'll go through those when we get to it. And these battle traits apply to the whole army. So, Battle Fury. It's a heroic action that can be performed by a hero that's not a monster. Add 2 to the attacks of that hero to the end of the turn. I don't want a command point, I'll just have 2 attacks. Okay. All out bit of background noise there. All out slaughter, commandability. Now, one thing I have noticed with this book, and also with this other book, which will be appearing at the same time as the review, is some of these, there's just starting to get a little bit wordy in what feels unnecessary, in an unnecessary fashion. I'm starting to get 40k flashbacks of unnecessary verbs. Not too bad, but I'm like, that's a lot of words to say not very much. So I'm hoping, I'm imagining that, and it's just, it's not true. I don't want it to be true. So it's guess this all out slaughter, commandability when a unit fights in the fight phase. Yeah, so I'm going to go off on one now. You can use this commandability when a friendly Daughters of Khaine unit is picked to fight in the combat phase. Okay, the command must be issued to a friendly Daughters of Khaine unit and received by the unit that has been picked to fight. Surely this is blindingly obvious from the first sentence. I mean, any other interpretation of that is crazy. I digress. Unmodified hit rolls of 6, score 2 hits instead of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 lines to say you play this on a unit and then 6s to hit generate 2 hits. That's 7 lines too many. Fanatical Faith. Friendly Daughters of Khaine units have a ward save of 6+. Blood Rights. So, friendly. So this is a. I don't want to draw too many comparisons, but it's the only one I've got. But for those of you who play or have seen played or are familiar with Drakari in 40k, they have abilities that increase as the amount of... For the Drakari, it's about pain and suffering, but for the Daughters of Khaine, it's about bloodletting. So as the game goes on and more blood is being spilt, they gain more abilities as they get more revved up and more worshipy of the very, very bloody god. So Battle Round 1, Quickening Bloodlust. Add 1 to run rolls. So these are all cumulative. So in round 2 you get that Quickening Bloodlust as well as Headlong Fury. Add 1 to charge rolls. So you run in the first turn, charge in the second turn. Zealot's Rage, Battle Round 3. Add 1 to hit rolls with melee weapons. Battle Round 4, Slaughterer's Strength. Add 1 to wound rolls for melee weapons. And Unquenchable Fervour, round 5. Friendly Daughters of Khaine units have a ward save of 5+. so their ward save increases to 5+, because they're just off on 1. The description: the faithful are gripped by a vision that banishes mortal fears and pain instantly. Da, da, da. Okay, so we're into enhancements, command traits. So, how many sets of command traits do we have? Just the one. Okay, so Paragon of Murder, Daughters of Khaine, hero only. So we got, what, 6, 7? Arcane Mastery, wizard only. They know all the spells from the Lord of Shadows. Nice. Bathed in Blood. Every enemy model you kill in melee, you heal a wound. I'm paraphrasing here because I feel like I need to. Fueled by Revenge. So this is an Iron Scale character only. Once per battle, the hero can wreak Khaine's vengeance. The general wreaks Khaine's vengeance. Add one to the attacks characteristic of melee weapons by all Melusi wholly within 12 inches. So it's a +1 attack bomb that it can drop. Zealous Orator. If the general issues the rally command, you can return a slain mod. So rallies on 4+ rather than 6. Silly words. Zealous Orator, I like that. So you got a big blob of witch elves. You've got 20 witch elves. You lose half of them. They get slaughtered. Then you bring them back on a 4+ with a command point. Nice. Master of Poisons. You can pick a model that you've wounded in that turn and do D6 mortal wounds to the end of the combat phase. Sacrificial Overseer. They get to... So this is another one that's got about 10 lines where 2 will do. The general gets to fight twice in... when it fights, if it kills something, it gets to fight again at the end of the phase. But they start going on about, if it's only fought once, then when it's fought, it gets to fight again, but has the always strikes last rule for the second set of attacks. Regular viewers will realise this verbal concoction is a constant source of ire. Excuse me, I'm thirsty. True Believer. Add 1 to the current battle round when determining the abilities gained from the Blood Rights battle trait. This ability and other similar abilities are cumulative, so reading between the lines on that, there's going to be something else you can get, which you can maybe make the battle round up to 3 higher. So, I don't know, maybe by sort of turn 2 or 3, you're adding 1 to run, 1 to charge, +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and you've got a ward save of 5+. That's nice. Okay, so we have got 3 different artifacts, 3 different categories of artifact. Gifts of Marathi, the Blood Vein Venom. Put my teeth in and start again. Bloodbane Venom. Pick a melee weapon after the bearer fights. If you wound a model but not kill it, you get to roll a dice, and if you go over it, if you can roll over its wound characteristic, you kill it. Handy. Not likely to kill off many characters with that, but Stormcasts, Uruks, yeah, have it. Croneblade. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. A 6 to hit heals a wound on you. Crown of Woe. Enemy units can't rally or inspiring presence whilst within 9 inches. And if the model with this artifact kills something, it increases the aura effect to 15 for the rest of the battle. So you're more likely to run away and less likely to come back if you're near the Crown of Woe. Forged from the cult of Khaine's first sacrificial altar, an aura of dread surrounds the wearer of this baleful crown. Yeah, I can see that in my mind's eye. It's not nice, I wouldn't want to be near that. Rune of Khaine. The first time the bearer is slain, the bearer can fight before they are removed from play. Cool. Now you see, that's just a line and a half. None of this. If they haven't fought already, or it's a Tuesday. Right, Artifacts of Shadow. Daughters of Khaine Wizard only. Crystal Heart. Double the range of a endless spell summon. Sevenfold Shadow. Once per battle, you can pick them up off the battlefield and set them back up again within 9 inches. Shadow Stone. +1 to casting rolls for Lore of Shadows. Now we're on to Relics of Khaine. The Daughters of Khaine Priests only. The Blood Sigil. Can pick an extra prayer. Khainite Pendant. Once per battle, before the bearer chants a prayer, they can call upon the... Oh right, it's an auto prayer. It's an auto succeed once per battle on a prayer. Okay, spell laws. So we've got the Lore of the Shadows for the spell laws, and then we've got the prayers of the Khainite cult for the prayer scriptures. So spell lore. Steed of Shadows. The caster's move characteristic increases to 16 and can fly. Pit of Shades. Range of 18. Pick an enemy unit. Roll 2d6. If it's higher than the move characteristic of the unit, summon the number of mortal wounds equal to the difference between its move characteristic and the roll. Ooh! Bad day to be a Dwarden. Ooh! Ooh! Pick an enemy unit. The wizard opens a rift to the infamous Pit of Shades. Terrified warriors fall screaming through the portal, plummeting to a shadowy no place filled with the incessant wailing of those who dwell beyond. Yikes. I was just thinking, well, how can it drag things that can fly in? But it's a vortex, so it drags them in. They can't just fall in. Mirror Dance. 18-inch range. Pick 2 friendly Daughters of Khaine heroes. Visible to the caster and not in engagement range of enemy units. Remove them from the battlefield. Set each model up again within 1 inch of the location. Oh, swap 2 models around. Swap 2 characters around. Their position on the battlefield. Okay, the Withering. 18-inch range. Pick an enemy unit invisible. Add 1 to wound rolls that target them. Mind Razor. That sounds unpleasant. Range of 18. Pick a friendly unit within... or Daughters of Khaine unit within range. Improve the rend by 1. And add 1 to the damage characteristic if the unit charged that turn. You cast that on a unit of Witch Elves, and then all of those 4+ attacks become 4+4+- -1, damage 2. My Clangers impression. Shroud of Despair. 18-inch range. Pick an enemy unit. Subtract 1 from the unit's bravery. If the casting roll was 8+, subtract D3 from the unit's bravery instead of 1. Okay. They're all good. I like all of this, especially that with that... it wasn't an artifact, it was a command trait. Arcane Mastery. Wizard knows all the spells from the Lore of Shadows. Ah! that there is some serious utility in there. There's some movement, there's some damage output, there's some buffs, there's some debuffs. Nice combos. There aren't many wizards in the book, though. Off the top of my head, there's Marathi, there's the Bloodrack Medusa, and there are the Doomfire Warlocks. I think that's it. Okay, prayer scriptures. Catechism of Murder. Range of 14, pick a friendly. Unmodified 6s to hit 2 hits. Blessings of Khaine, 14-inch, pick a friendly, Holy Within. The previous one was Holy Within as well. You can re-roll Fanatical Faith rolls for that unit. What's Fanatical Faith? Oh, Fanatical Faith is probably the ward save. Fanatical Faith is the ward save. Martyr's Sacrifice. 14 inches, friendly unit, Holy Within. Before a model is slain and removed from play, if you're being attacked in melee, dead models bounce mortal wounds back onto the enemy unit on a 5+5+. Crimson Rejuvenation. 14 inches, friendly, Holy Within, heal up to D3 wounds allocated to the unit. Covenant of the Iron Heart. 14-inch, friendly, Holy Within, do not take battle shock tests. Sacrament of Blood. 14, Holy Within, add 1 to the current battle round when determining the abilities gained from the Blood Rights battle trait. This ability and other similar abilities are cumulative. So you can, by taking that prayer and the artifact that we saw earlier, you can get that up to +2 battle rounds. Okay, now we're into the Temples of Khaine. This is the last section of the generic rules before we go on to the scrolls, given that I don't go through the match play or the Path to Glory stuff. So, Hagnar, Daughters of the First Temple. Add 1 to the current number of the battle round when determining the abilities gained from the Blood Rights ritual. This is cumulative, so you... Oh, goodness me. Drachi Ganeth, Bladed Killers. Improve the rend characteristic of weapons by Witch Elves and Sisters of Slaughter by 1 if they made a charge. Kellet Nar, Strike and Fade. Retreat and charge. Kaelbron, Master of the Shadow Paths. Commandability is what it is at the end of the movement phase. From a Kaelbron hero to a Kaelbron unit. Of course, it's obvious because it's Kaelbron. So it's set. Okay. Remove and then reset up not within 9 inches of the enemy. That's nice. So you can bounce them across the board because they step through the shadows. Well versed in the secret ways of the shadow paths. The Kaelbron strike where least expected. These ones are blue and purple. That's a shame. Sorry, the Krath. Disciples of Slaughter. Once they've fought for the first time in the combat phase, on a 4+, the unit can fight for a second time. The strikes last roll for like blah 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 blah. After they've fought, roll a d6. On a 4+, they can fight again at the end of the combat phase. The Zenrath Kai. Khaine's Essence. Each time a friendly Zainthar Kai Melusai unit is slain, the model can fight before it's removed from play. So I'm conscious of the fact I'm probably just mispronouncing a lot of these and skipping over them. Speaking of skipping over, Path to Glory, Core Battalions. Okay, so Marathi Kane. So I think this is, this has been around for a while. So you've got the Marathi Kane and the Shadow Queen are 2 models. Marathi Kane, whenever you damage either of them, the damage goes on to the Shadow Queen, who has 12 wounds and a 4+ save. There are no methods of... So, the Shadow Queen has a rule that you can't do more than 3 wounds to it. Oh, it's not a phase, it's a turn. Per turn. So, the earliest it can be killed, the absolute earliest, is the end of Battle Round 2. Realistically, you're not going to kill it till Battle Round 3. But wounds to the Shadow Queen absolutely cannot be healed. She's quite nasty, the Shadow. Oh, goodness me. I mean, when you're looking at... I mean, these are stats that degrade, but... Heartrender, 8 attacks, 3+3+, -2, 3 damage. Ouchtown, population U. Marathi Kane herself is a cast 3 wizard, and she knows all the spells from the Laws of Shadows, all those horrible spells that we just looked at. Lovely if they're yours, horrible if you're making them. Yeah. Right, the Bloodrack Shrine. This is one of the Cauldron of Blood variants. So there's like 4 variants with the Cauldron of Blood kit, where it can be a Bloodrack Shrine, it can be a Cauldron of Blood, or it can have different characters on the Cauldron of Blood, it can have an avatar on it, not have an avatar on it. Basically, if you buy that kit, you get 1 big unit and about 2 or 3 other little ones you can make and put out of it. It's a very nice drawing picture. There's a very nice setup here with a Bloodrack Shrine where the Medusa is painted in a sort of off bloody red rather than a green. I like that. It fits in nicely with the sort of rest of the... It's nice, it's nice. Page 89, it looks cool. Bloodrack Shrine. Now the Bloodrack Shrine's a wizard. Yeah, can cast 1. Aura of Agony. Start your hero phase. Roll dice for every enemy unit within 7 inches. If it's equal to or greater than the Aura of Agony value on the table, they take D3 mortal wounds. Uninjured, that starts off as a 2+ and degrades to a 5+. Bladed Impact, it can do mortal wounds when it charges. Bloodrack Stare is a special ranged attack that does mortal wounds. Number of dice equal to the number of models in the target unit. Each 5+ does a mortal wound. So basically you can trim 33% off the enemy unit. Malusai Kin. All the Medusa all the Malusai units within 12 inches count the battle round as being 1 higher for the purposes of blood rights. Then the specific spell of this one is a debuff on an enemy unit, enfeebling foe, -1 for wound rolls that they make. Nice. It's a utilitarian unit. It's not so hard in a fight, but the buffs and debuffs and the wizarding. Nice. Then the Malusi Iron Scale. So she is the snake woman character. She got 3 attacks, 3+3+, -1 D3 damage. What she is she a priest? No, she's a hero. Blood of the Oracle. She has an ability that lets her ignore the effects of spells and endless spells on a 5+. Gory Offering. Add 1 to attack characteristics of Malusai within 12 inches. Holly within 12 inches. Turn to Crystal. You can touch someone and try and turn them to a rock. Pick an enemy unit. On 1+, it takes a mortal wound. Then a Commandability that you can issue to other Malusai units. Can attempt to charge even if it ran or shot in the same turn. Or shot? Or shot? Is there something on their profile that says they can't shoot and charge? I need to go and find that now. Because if I leave it till I get there, I won't remember it. No, that must be a throwback from a wording from a previous edition. That'd be my guess. Then the Bloodrack Medusa has got a lot of the same abilities that the Bloodrack Shrine had, but the Medusa's not on the shrine. Morgwraith the Bloodied is a special character. Okay. The Blade Coven. Oh, I think this is an Underworld's unit. Let's skip over that one. Hag Queen on the Cauldron of Blood. So, Cauldron of Blood then, what have we got here? There's a nice missile weapon, Torrent of Burning Blood. 10-inch range, 6 attacks, 3+3+, -1 rend. Sorry, -1 damage. So what does this thing do? Altar of Khaine. Add 1 to chanting rolls for friendly Daughters of Khaine priests within 9 inches. Bladed impact, mortal wounds on the charge. Add 1 to save rolls, blood shield for Daughters of Khaine units wholly within range. And the blood shield range varies. Starts at 18 inches when uninjured, goes down to 6 inches. Witch Brew. Start your hero phase. Pick a friendly unit within 12 to drink the brew. Add 1 to the current battle round for the blood rights. This is cumulative. There's lots of things in here that you can use to buff that. That's nice. That's good. Touch of Death is a prayer that has an answer value of 3 and a range of 3. Pick an enemy unit within range of the chanter. Enemy suffers D3 mortal wounds. So it gets its own prayer, similar to wizards. I don't really use priests very much in AOS yet. So the Hag Queen, yes, she has Witch Brew and she has Touch of Death. I've got all my old fancy Battle of Dark Elves with the witches. They're not very well painted. And they're not very good models by comparison. These ones are much better. So Slaughter Queen on the Cauldron of Blood. So Altar of Khaine, Bladed Impact and Blood Shield are all the same. Then Pact of Blood. The unit can attempt to unbind a spell as if it were a wizard. Then we've got Orgy of Slaughter and Dance of Doom. So these abilities are on the Slaughter Queen as well. This Commandability can be issued to this unit. Use this Commandability in your hero phase if this unit is part of your army on the battlefield. Oh, okay. The command can only be issued by this unit. Okay. Implied. And the unit that receives it must be a friendly Daughters of Khaine unit within 3 inches of an enemy unit. Okay. That unit can fight. I mean, it doesn't even say can fight now. It obviously means that. Hero phase. Pick a unit that's in engagement range. It gets to fight. Is that so hard? Dance of Doom is a prayer. Gives the strikes first effect to the recipient. And the Slaughter Queen not on the Cauldron of Blood is pretty much the same. Except she has 4 attacks. 3+3 +(-1) D3. That's quite nice. High Gladiatrix. She is the new one, but I'm sure we'll have covered the stats for her when we unboxed the box. But so Bladed Whip, 4 attacks, 3+3 +(-1) 1. Gladiatrix Blade, 2 attacks, 3+3+-1/1. Nothing stands out there. Nothing knocking me flat with a feather. This unit is eligible to fight the combat phase if it's within 6 inches of an enemy unit instead of 3, and it can move an extra 3 inches when it piles in. Oh, right, okay. For a minute I thought there was a range of 6 on its weapon, but it isn't. Killing Stroke. End of the combat phase, pick an enemy hero within 1 inches, roll a d3. Add the number of wounds allocated to the enemy's hero to the roll. If the roll is equal to or greater than the wounds characteristic, it's slain. Okay, so there's a fair chance of offing a nearby character. Killing Stroke. A gladiatrix prides herself on slaying enemies with magnificently gory flourishes, killing them with a brutal whip motion or a single precise stroke from her blade. Nom 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 nom. Paragon of Slaughter. Melee weapons used by friendly witch elves or sisters of slaughter with 12 inches have a wound characteristic of 3+ instead of 4+, and a rend characteristic of -1 instead of dash. Okay, so that's what she does. She super buffs the witch elves and the sisters of slaughter. Cool. Sisters of Slaughter. 2 attacks, 3+4+, no rend, 1 damage. Bladed bucklers. So you can either have a bladed buckler or a sacrificial knife as well as the whip. The bladed buckler, 6 is to save, bounce mortal wounds back onto your opponents. Dance of Death, eligible to fight within 3 inches and moves an extra 6 inches and moves an extra 3 when it piles in. Okay, don't get close to him. Witch Elves. Paired knives, single knife. Similar stat line. 1 inch, 3 attacks, 3+4+-1. Can take a bladed buckler, so same thing. 6 is to save, bounce mortal wounds back, or they can take another knife, which basically gives them an extra 2 attacks. They have 5 attacks each if they don't have the shield. Frenzied Fervour. I'd want to wound rolls with melee weapons if the unit's wholly within 12 inches of friendly Daughters of Khaine totem. Let me guess. The Cauldron of Blood is a totem. Goodo. Is the Bloodwrack Shrine a totem? It's a totem. Now we've got Khaine Shadowstalkers. For whatever reason, I've not really looked at these. Khaine Shadowstalkers are in a unit of 9. Okay. Shadow Leap, an ability. Instead of making a normal move or a retreat, you can say it'll Shadow Leap, take it off the table, set it back up within more than 9 inches away from enemy units. So you can ditch out of combat. That's nice. So missile weapons. Cursed missiles, 6-inch range, 1 attack, 3+3+-1/1. Oh, okay. So there's a special. The champion can take a better weapon, but the basic weapon is 2 attacks, 4+3+-1. Not that assassiny. They look very cool. Doomfire Warlocks. Doomfire Crossbow, 12-inch range, 2 attacks, 4+3+. Cursed Scimitar, 2 attacks, 4+3+-1/1. It's a wizard. Cast 1, unbind 1. I'd want to roll casting and unbinding rolls if it has at least 5 models in the unit. Doomfire is its basic spell, which is mortal wound output more models in the unit, the more mortal wounds it outputs. Avatar of Khaine. Now, I seem to remember reading in the app that the Avatar of Khaine needed to be prayed to activate it, and it couldn't move around unless there was a priest going, "Come on, God, please, go and kill something." That appears to have gone. It's a 9 wound model, 4+ save. It's got the Torrent of Burning Blood, as mentioned before, so 6 attacks, 3+3+, -1/1. So the Avatar's Sword, 2 each range, 4 attacks, 3+3+, -2, 3 damage. Tasty. Altar of Khaine, +1 to chanting rolls for priests within 9 inches. Animus of Sorcery and Sacrifice. Unit has a ward save of 5+. Wrath of Khaine. Unit counts as a monster for the purposes of Monstrous Rampage, but you can only carry out a stomp or a smash. It cannot be picked as the target of a Monstrous Rampage. Nice. Bloodstalkers. So we're getting to the half-snake women now. 2 wounds each, 8 each move. Heartseeker Bow, 24-inch range, 2 attacks, 3+3+, -1/1. If the attack roll is a 6, it does a mortal wound, and the sequence ends. In melee, they've got the Scalinar, 2 attacks, 3+4+-1. They're the shooty variant, obviously. The choppy variant, the Blood Sisters, they've got more armour on them, but that's not reflected in their profile. They're using the Heart Shard Glaive. 2 each range, 3 attacks, 3+3+, -1/1. And after the unit's fought, it can potentially do some mortal wounds with its turn to crystal ability. We then have the Kinnerai Heart Renders. So these are both flying ones. They both move 14 inch, 1 wound each, 5+ save. So the Heart Renders, Javelin, 12-inch range, 1 attack, 3+3+, -1/1, and a similar profile in close combat, except we're talking 4+4+. Descend into battle. Okay, so you don't have to set them up at the start. You can set them up within 9 inches during another round. Fire and flight. After this unit shoots, it can make a normal move of 6 inches. So you can move them 14, fire at 12-inch range, then close the distance of 6 inches if you want to go in and attack in melee. But if they got 1 attack each in melee, you maybe don't want to do that. You maybe want to get them within 12 inches, then move them 6 inches back. Yeah, that'll be what it intends. Then we have the Life Takers. They have the Barbed Sickle. 2 attacks, 3+3+, -1/1. They also descend into battle, so they can go into reserve. They also have fight and flight. No. Sorry, I do apologise. The Heart Renders have fire and flight, so after you shoot, move 6 inches. The Life Takers have fight and flight. After the unit fights, you can roll a dice. On a 4+, you can retreat 6 inches. So you throw these girls in first, you attack with them, then on a 4+, you can move them back 6 inches so they don't get hit in return. Yep, that works. Then we're on to the Endless Spells. The Bloodwrack Viper's fairly interesting. It's got 2 rules. It's an Endless Predatory. When you get close to an enemy unit within 1 inch, roll 3 dice. For every roll that equals that unit's wound characteristic, the one model is slain. So 3 dice equal to or greater. So 2 pluses, you're killing Stormcasts. And Monster of Blood. So at the end of the charge phase, this counts as a monster and can smash or stomp, but can't itself be rampaged. So, predatory spell, you move it in close, you kill 2 or 3 models, then you stand on them. and kill some more. You can't hit back, it's a spell. Okay, pitched battle. There are a couple of other spells in here, but I'm not going to go through those. Heart of Fury and Blade Wind. Okay, so pitched battle profiles. What special bits have we got? The Hag Queen on a Cauldron of Blood. A Hag-Nar army can include an additional one, and not count as a Behemoth. Same for the Cauldron of Blood. Oh, sorry. Yes, the Slaughter Queen and the Hag Queen both have the same ability. Witch Elves, 115 points for 10. Drachi Ganeth army can include one free reinforcement or double reinforced elf unit, in addition to other reinforced units. Okay, so that's a match play thing. Blood Sisters, battle line in the Zenith Kai army if the general is a Melusai. Same with Bloodstalkers. And the Shadow Stalkers are battle line in a Calibron army. Anything leap out at me with the points. Marathi's 680. The Bloodrack Shrines 200. The Cauldron of Bloods are 270 and 315 for the Hag Queen and Slaughter Queen respectively. Nothing else leaps out at me. Allies. Cities of Sigmar, which surprised me. But I guess that's because of the what used to be called Dark Elves, so I can't remember their name now. Idoneth Deepkin, Lumineth Realm Lords, really? Stormcast Eternals, really? And Sylvaneth. Interesting. Okay, so my summing up and final thoughts. What do I think? Very interesting book, very cool. It's hard to do a full critique because I don't know what it had before, if things have been upstatted, downstatted, if any of the narrative has been changed, but it definitely feels like there's a lot of synergy in the book, and it feels like a host of very brittle, breakable, psychotic, basically blood elves that hurl themselves at you and hack you to death, which I think is what they were going for. So, success! Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope it was informative. A couple of quick shout outs. Thank you to my channel members and Patreons for your ongoing support. It is very, very much appreciated, helping me build up and work towards the hobby dream. If you want to support me, you can check out channel memberships in the description below. Access to exclusive content and access to our hobby Discord, our community hobby Discord. If you shop at Element Games, if you see the description below, if you're about to order this book and you want to support me, go buy it from Element Games. Link in the description. If you use that link, it tells them that you came from me and I get commission, which is really nice. And on that happy note, take care everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.